Under the guidance of our clinical mentor, Dr. Christopher Scortino, we started to investigate the lab process. This began with our observation of the workflow in the cardiothoracic ICU, the clinical laboratory, and lastly, the medical team's response upon seeing the results in the patient chart. This has helped us develop a customer image diagram to identify key needs to define our problem statement and need statement.
So the problem statement that we observed is as follows. Lab results are critical for diagnosing patients with shock. Over 65% of clinical decisions are based on labs. And the time from blood retrieval to results is about 60 to 90 minutes. Many of the lab tests that we look at to diagnose shock include pH, oxygen level, lactate, and hemoglobin, particularly after cardiac surgery. Low hemoglobin, high lactate result in poor patient outcomes, long hospital stays, and even death. Thus, early diagnosis is pivotal.
The need statement we constructed was that the surgical team needs a faster method to obtain patient lab results in order to expedite the time to diagnosis. Typically, the workflow for retrieving patient lab results is as follows. Ordering the lab. This is where the nurse orders the lab through the computer and prints the label for the vial. Collecting the sample. Samples are usually drawn from the A line or central line. Sending the sample. Nurse must walk to the pneumatic tube system. Delivering the sample to the lab. 3 to 10 minutes via pneumatic tube system. Lab sorting. These samples are first sorted by the lab technician to then the machine to distinguish between lab types and prioritizations. Lab processing. Without errors, it will take 60 minutes. Receiving the data, populating on patient chart. Our device intends to intervene at the time of lab ordering. This device allows the healthcare provider, nurse, or doctor to order labs with just the press of a button. After the selected labs are determined, he or she uses their UPMC ID badge to confirm the order, and the lab order is automatically printed on the vial, as the vials and printer are stored within the device. What's great is that this device will populate a graph to show the changing results. Some key features in our device is that it is an independent lab ordering process, separate from outdated computers in ICU, has retina display, touchscreen, straightforward lab ordering, which is a hotkey system. Vials are stored within the device, and vials are automatically labeled by the device. This eliminates 10 to 25 minutes of the lab ordering process. This device allows the nurse to focus on the patient's clinical status and not spend time finding the correct vial, as 3 to 5 vials are used for every 2 lab tests. This also reduces nurse complaints with improper printing of the labels for the vials. And in the event that the electronic patient record system is down, nurses will be able to still place lab orders through this independent system. Secondly, the device offers a graphical portion where the lab results of patients will be populated on a graph to track changing records over time. Despite these advantages, this device will be required at every bedside, which would occupy space in an already crowded ICU. Our next device intends to completely eliminate the current lab process by introducing a point-of-care bedside analyzer. This device serves the most critical labs and delivers real-time results right at the bedside. 75 microliters of blood is drawn from existing arterial line or venous puncture. The lab is requested and selected, and the device does the rest. Key features include blood collection via existing arterial or venous lines, requires minimal blood, allows for frequent bedside measurements, touchscreen, records and plots data, can attach to existing bedside monitors via a mount. This device would eliminate lab processing time for all these parameters.
Advantages of the device include minimal blood loss and readily available results at the bedside. Since it's a 3 critical lab testing device, it would be cheaper than the other existing handheld devices that are thousands of dollars per device. The results would auto-populate the device screen independent of the electronic medical record software. This mechanism is also independent of the IV lines and fluids, and the drugs can be intravenously administered while processing these labs. Despite these advantages, this would also be additional hardware in the already spatially limited ICU, and also this device is limited only to 3 or 4 lab parameters, namely hemoglobin, bicarb, lactate, and potassium.
Going forward, we will have Dr. Scortino and the charge nurses assess this device using the existing parameters, but we will also offer them the alternative features.